Chapter 2 of Rosemary in Search of a Father by Charles Norris Williamson and Alice Muriel Williamson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Shrimpfish. The Rose Girl's Little Story and Great Eyes. He ordered a lunch which he thought the girl would like, with wine to revive the faculties that he knew must be failing. Then, when she had eaten a little, daintily in spite of her hunger, he encouraged her to talk. "Mother and I are all alone in the world," she said. "We are Belgian and live in Brussels, but we have drifted about a good deal, just amusing ourselves. Somehow we never happened to come here until a month ago. Then my mother said one day in Paris, 'Let us go to Monte Carlo. I dreamed last night that I won 20,000 francs there.' My mother is rather superstitious. We came, and she did win, at first. She was delighted, and believed in her dream, so much that when she began to lose, she went up and up, doubling each time. They call the game she made playing the martingale. She lost all the money we had with us, and telegraphed home for more. Soon she had sold out every one of our securities. Then she won, and went half mad with the joy and excitement. But the joy didn't last long. She lost all, again. Literally, our all. We were penniless. There was nothing left to pay the hotel bill. I went out and found a Mont de Piete, just beyond the limits of the principality. They aren't allowed inside. I pawned all our jewelry, and, as we had a great many valuable things, I got several thousand francs. I thought the money would last us until I could find something to do, but, without telling me what she meant to do, Mother took it all to the casino, and it followed the rest. She was so horrified at what she had done when it was too late that she wished to kill herself. It was a terrible time for me, but I was so sorry for her." As the girl said this, she looked full into the young man's eyes with her great appealing ones. He thought that she must have a wonderfully sweet nature to have forgiven that horrible fat old woman after being subjected to so much undeserved suffering. It was 1,000 pities, he said to himself, that a really good sort of girl should be forced to live her life beside a creature of that type, and under such an influence. He had not quite believed in the poor child, at first, perhaps, and because he did believe in her now, he felt poignant remorse for his past injustice. "What did you do, then?" he asked, honestly absorbed in the story, for he was a generous and warm-hearted fellow who found most of his pleasure, in these latter days, in the help he could give others to make them happier than he was himself. "I comforted her as well as I could, but I didn't know what would become of us. Then a lady, who had a room next to mine in the hotel, heard me crying, and was very kind." "I should think she would have been," interrupted the young man. "She told me that, as my mother had lost everything, she had better go to the direction of the casino and get what they call a viatique, money to go away with. So she did ask, though it was a great ordeal to make up her mind to do it, and they gave my mother 1,000 francs. Then, you know, she had no right to play in the rooms again. She was supposed to pay her hotel bill and leave Monte Carlo. But she gave half the money to a woman she had met in the rooms, and asked her to put it on 6 numbers she had dreamed about. She was sure that this time she would win." "And did she?" "No. The money was lost. We hadn't enough left to settle our account at the hotel, or get away from the place, even if there were anywhere to go, when one has no pennies. So my mother begged me to slip into the rooms with what was left and try to get something back. I had been trying when you saw me, with our last Louis. Now you know why it seemed so good to see a man I knew, a face I could trust. Now you know why I, who had had such misfortunes, was glad at least to bring you luck." "It is my turn to bring you some, I think," began the man she could trust, but she stopped him by putting up her plump little white hand. "If you mean with money, no," she said, with soft decision that was pretty and sad to hear. "If you mean with advice, yes, if you could only get me something to do. You see, they will be turning us out of our hotel tomorrow. They've let us keep our rooms on up to now, but for 2 days they've not given us anything to eat. Of course, it can't go on like this. If it hadn't been for you, I think when I went back to tell my mother that the last Louis of the Viatique was gone, we would have killed ourselves."
"Great heaven, you must promise me not to do that," the young man implored.
"I will promise now, for you have saved me by caring a little. You do care, really, don't you?"
"I wouldn't have blood in my veins if I didn't. But about something for you to do. I must think."
"Are you staying here for some time?" asked the girl.
"I haven't made up my mind."
"I ask because I suppose you don't need a secretary, do you? I can write such a good English hand, and I know French and Italian as well as I do German, and your own language. If I could be of use, I would work so hard for you."
"I dare say I shall be needing a secretary after Christmas. Indeed, I'm sure I shall," insisted the young man, more and more earnest in his desire to do good. "I have dozens of letters to write every day, and all sorts of odds and ends to keep straight. I could bring the things down to your place, and you could help me, if you would, but I'm afraid it would be no end of bother to you."
"I should love it," said the girl gently.
"Oh, it would be hard work. It would take a lot of your time, and be worth a lot of money."
"Would it really? But you mustn't overpay me. I should be so angry if you did that."
"There's no danger. I'm a good businessman, I assure you. I should pay a capable secretary like you, knowing several languages and all that, say $40 a week. That's about 200 francs.
"Wouldn't that be too much?"
"Hardly enough."
"You are so good, so good. But I knew you would be. I wonder if you would think me a very bold girl if I told you something. Is this. I've never forgotten you since those days in Paris. You were different, somehow, from other men I had seen. I thought about you. I had a presentiment that we should meet again. My mother dreamed of numbers to play at roulette. I dreamed of... But oh, I am saying things I ought not to say. Please don't blame me when you've starved for 2 days and not known what to do, unless you die, and then a man comes who is so kind and saves you from terrible things. You can't be as wise and well-behaved as at other times."
"Poor child," said the young man.
"It does me good to be called that. But you don't know my name, the name of your new secretary. It is Julie de la Valette. My mother is the Comtesse de la Valette. And you?"
"Oh, I'm plain Hugh Egerton," said the young man.
The girl laughed. "I do not think you are plain Hugh Egerton at all. But perhaps an American girl would not tell you that. Hugh. What a nice name. I think it is going to be my favorite name." She glanced up at him softly under long lashes, a thrilling glance, but he missed its radiance, for his own eyes were far away. Hugh had been the favorite name of another girl. When she saw that look of his, she rose from her chair. "I'm taking too much of your time," she exclaimed remorsefully. "I must go." His eyes and thoughts came back to the wearer of pink and roses. Perhaps there had been just a little too much softness and sweetness. It had been wise of her to change the key and speak of parting. He paid for the lunch and tipped the waiters so liberally that they all hoped he would come again often. Then he asked if he might walk with her to the hotel where she and her mother were staying. "It's down in the Condamine." She hesitated. "We've moved there lately since the money began to go, and we've had to think of everything. It's rather a long walk from here."
"All the better for me," he answered, and her smile was an appreciation of the compliment. They sauntered slowly, for there was no haste. Nobody else wanted Hugh Egerton's society, and he began to believe that this girl sincerely did want it. He also believed that he was going to do some real good in the world, not just in the ordinary, obvious way, by throwing about his money, but by being genuinely necessary to someone. When they had strolled down the hill, and had followed for a time the straight road along the sea on that level plain which is the Condamine, the girl turned up a side street. "We live here," she said, and stopped before a structure of white stucco, rococo decoration, and flimsy balconies. Large gold letters, one or two of which were missing, advertised the house as the Hotel Pension Beau Soleil, and those who ran might read that it would be charitable to describe its accommodation as second-rate. "It is not nice," she went on, with a shrug of her pretty shoulders, "but it is good to know all the same that we will not be turned out. I have a new heart in my breast since I left this house a few hours ago, because there is a you in the world." As she said this, she held out her hand for good-bye, and when he had shaken it warmly, the young man was bold enough to slip off her wrist the little pink leather bag which hung there by its chain. "Now for that advance on your secretarial work," he said, and taking from his pocket a wad of notes which he had won at the casino, he stuffed it hastily into the yawning mouth of the bag, while the girl's soft eyes gazed at the sea. Then he closed the spring with a snap, and she let him pass the chain over her hand once more. "Oh, but it looks very fat!" she exclaimed. "Are you sure you counted right?" "There's a little more there," he said uncomfortably. "Just a little to save the bother of counting here in the street. Don't look angry, only the salary part's for you, of course, but the rest, couldn't you just hand it over to your mother and say, 'Winnings at the casino'? That's true, you know, it was every bit, and you needn't say who won it. Besides, if it hadn't been for you, it would have been lost instead of won. It would be a kind of Christmas present for your mother from the casino, which really owes her a lot more." The girl shook her head gently. "I couldn't do that, even for my mother's sake. But I don't misunderstand. Now we are such friends. I know how kindly you mean, and though neither mother nor I can accept presents of money, even from dear friends, after all, we are of the noblesse, I am not going to hurt you by giving the money back, if you will do what I ask of you." "What is that?" He felt ready to do anything within reason. "Let us sell you, our dear little dog, for this extra money you have put into my bag. He is very, very valuable, for he cost thousands of francs, this sweet pet, so you would really have something not unworthy in return for your goodness. Don't say no. You would love Papillon, and we should love you to have him. We couldn't have parted with our little darling to a stranger, though we were starving, but it would make us happy to think he was yours. And then, if you won't, you must take all this back." As she spoke, she touched the bag on her arm. "Oh, I'll have the dog," Hugh Egerton said quickly. Anything rather than the girl should return the money, which she so much needed. "I remember he was a dear little chap, Pomeranian or something of the sort. I hope he likes motors." "He will like whatever you like. If you will come and fetch him this evening, I will show you all his tricks. Do come, it would be good to see you again so soon." "With pleasure," said the young man, flushing slightly, "if you think your mother will be well enough to receive me." "The news I have to give will almost cure her. If you would dine with us, they will give us a dinner now," and she laughed childishly. "When I have paid the bill, it will be very stupid for you at a place like this, but you will have a welcome, and it is the best we can do." "It is the welcome I want," said Hugh. "But if you and your mother could dine with me somewhere—" "Another time we will." There were to be other times, of course. "And this evening," she went on, "we can talk of my beginning work as your secretary. It shall be directly after Christmas?" "Whenever you're ready." "I suppose you have friends to whom you will go for Christmas?" "Not a friend." "Oh, perhaps we might be together, all three?" "I'll think of something pleasant for us to do, if you'll let me." "How good you are!
Then, to this evening. It will seem long till then."
They shook hands once more. She had taken off her glove now, and her palm left on his a reminiscence of Peau d'Espargne. He did not know what the scent was, but it smelled rich and artificial, and he disliked to associate it with his new friend. "But probably it's her mother's, and she didn't choose it herself," he thought. "Well, I have a new interest in life now. I expect this is the best thing that's happened to me for a long time."
As he walked back to his hotel, his head was full of plans for the girl's transient pleasure and lasting benefit.
"Poor lonely child," he thought. "And what a mother! She ought not to be left with a person like that. She ought to marry. It would be a good deed to take her away from such an influence. So young, and so ingenuous as she is still, in spite of the surroundings she must have known, she is capable of becoming a noble woman, perhaps, if she turns out to be really as sweet and gentle as she seems."
The sentence broke off unfinished in his mind, and ended with a great sigh. There could be only second best and third best things in life for him now, since love was over, and it would be impossible for him to care for an angel from heaven who had not the face and the dear ways of the girl he had lost. But second best things might be better than no good things at all, if only one made up one's mind to accept them thankfully, and it was a shame to waste so much money on himself when there were soft-eyed, innocent girls in the world who ought to be sheltered and protected from harm. End of Chapter 2.